there's love and Aphrodite in the air tonight after another edition of The Golden Bachelorette. I have to say, I love recapping The Golden Bachelorette because it sounds like I'm reporting back from a war. We lost 4 good men this week, and I want to extend warm and safe wishes to those watching in the path of Hurricane Milton, which is a weird name for a hurricane. Hurricane Milton sounds like a nickname for the Golden Bachelor who can't stop farting in the hot tub. They say Milton could be a storm for the history books if the state of Florida still had history books, which they do not. Milton, at the time we tape our show, had been downgraded from a Category 5 hurricane to a Category 3. For those who don't follow this sort of thing, this is a Category 1 hurricane. This is Category 2. Here's Category 3, Category 4, and Category 5 will blow the roof right off. Donald Trump right now is denying an absolutely unbelievable report about his close and inappropriate relationship with Sugar Vladdy Putin. The new book from Bob Woodward of The Washington Post alleges, among other things, that during the early stages of the pandemic, when COVID testing machines were impossible to get, he secretly sent some to Putin and also has spoken to Putin as many as 7 times since leaving office. The book says Trump even asked one of his own top aides to leave the room so he could have a private call with Putin, which means either they were talking about something Trump didn't want anybody to know about, or Donald Trump named his penis Vladimir Putin. Leave me with my Putin. But the Kremlin, it's kind of funny because Trump says none of these things happened, but the Kremlin confirmed that Trump sent the COVID tests and denied they've had phone calls since he left office. So we don't know which one of them is telling the truth. Team Trump says it's all lies. Mar-a-Lago released a forceful statement lashing out at Bob Woodward, calling the book the work of a truly demented and deranged man, and that it belongs in the bargain bin of the fiction section of a discount bookstore or used as toilet tissue. Just for fun, I looked up the guy who writes these Kim Jong-un statements for Trump. This is him. His name's Stephen Chung. He previously did communications for the UFC. Trump calls him my sumo wrestler. You want to guess how old that guy is? 42. He looks like a pug made a wish to work at a car dealership, and it came true. And Trump's running mate, Maybelline brand ambassador J.D. Vance, he enjoys taking questions from the press at his appearances so the crowd can boo the reporters. I guess that's fun for him. So at a campaign stop in Detroit, a reporter asked him about these calls with Putin, and J.D. doesn't seem to have any problem with them at all.
Even if it's true, look, is there something wrong with speaking to world leaders?
First of all, yes. And second, yes, it's very wrong to have chats with dictators who are trying to exterminate our allies when you aren't the president anymore. Same reason you don't throw a birthday party for Diddy, okay? It's also, in addition to being inappropriate, it's illegal under the Logan Act for private citizens to engage in foreign policy that undercuts America. But this J.D. Vance, he is a hollow shell of a human being. Probably the most talked about moment of the debate last week was when Vance refused to concede that Trump lost the election, which is interesting because CNN yesterday found an interview Vance did with Megyn Kelly in November of 2020 in which he said this.
I really don't see any reason to think that this is going to become violent or chaotic. I think that when Biden is inaugurated, people will, more or less accept it, and it'll be on to the next fight.
Good call, Nostradamus. The next fight was trying to hang Mike Pence, which is how he got the gig, I guess. In 2020, J.D. Vance never said anything about the election being stolen. He was too busy Googling the best way to 69 a futon. He tweeted, in 2016, J.D. Vance tweeted about Trump, fellow Christians, everyone is watching us when we apologize for this man. Lord help us. And that same year, before he made up the Haitians eating dogs story, he tweeted, Trump makes people I care about afraid. Immigrants, Muslims, etc. Because of this, I find him reprehensible. God wants better of us. I agree with the statement you no longer agree with. Of course, he deleted those tweets once he realized he could be Trump's running mate. I'm old enough to remember when politicians used to be ashamed to be exposed as hypocrites. Remember the term flip-flop? He's a flip-flopper. It used to be the worst thing you could say. Now flip-flops are just terrible shoes you wear to the beach. And then we have Eric Trump, who, for reasons unknown, was just sworn in as a special deputy sheriff. There he is, CSI wet the bed. He's... Well, he was given this honor in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Well, I had no idea they had Make-A-Wish for grown-ups, but I guess they do. Special Sheriff Eric. He is now allowed to arrest people. That's how it works in Florida. Even if you're an honorary sheriff, you can make arrests. This will be the first time during a traffic stop where the cop says, "Do you know who my father is?" How great would it be if they make him arrest his father for the stolen documents at Mar-a-Lago? I mean, guess you'll finally have time for my Little League games now, Dad. The sad part about Eric becoming a special deputy is now when you Google Eric Trump special, this is no longer the first image that pops up. You know, his wife, Lara, is also a star. She's the co-chair of the RNC, which means she has to answer questions about the polls that now show her father-in-law well behind Kamala Harris. But Lara doesn't like to live by things like numbers. Lara goes with her gut.
In the new New York Times Siena poll, she does best Donald Trump as being the change candidate somehow among likely women, likely voters, by 2 points. What's going on there?
Well, I don't believe that poll at all. And polls like that, I think, are absolutely ridiculous. I get slipped beverage napkins every time I get on an airplane saying we can't wait to vote for Trump. Go Trump, Trump 2024.
Right. If you poll the beverage napkin signing community, he's way on top. It's not even close. You know how... This is... You're going to think I made this up, but you know how Trump likes to complain about how China's taking our jobs and raking us over the coals when it comes to trade, and he's going to hit them with tariffs so we can buy American? Well, guess where those God Bless the USA Bibles he's been selling are made? Think about it. That's right, in China. Trump is charging $59.99 for Chinese Bibles that say God Bless the USA on them. It's unbelievable. And Mr. USA, by the way, has a bunch of Trump products that were made in China. I will be presenting those to you tomorrow night. We did a little field trip and picked up a few things, but the audacity, the brazen hypocrisy, I know it shouldn't be shocking anymore. Somehow it still is, but you'll hear no mention of this from the right-wing media. Trump was on a Muppet named Ben Shapiro's podcast yesterday to tell Shapiro's listeners he is an erratic. The erratic ones are Joe and Kamala.
But Kamala Harris has not invoked the 25th Amendment. Does she have a responsibility to invoke the 25th Amendment and oust him from office and actually take responsibility for the administration at this point?
Actually, now that you're mentioning it, I think they should do a double 25th Amendment. Just get them both out. Who's third online? Because it's just terrible. This is
the Speaker, Mike Johnson.
The worst administration, right? No, this has got to be the worst administration ever. They both don't know what the hell they're doing.
Is he calling in from bed? I mean, that's some low energy. Hit the Diet Coke button quick because you're about... And he doesn't know the Speaker of the House is third in line to the presidency, but he knows a ton about windmills.
I flew over some of those beautiful windmills. They're all over the place. That gorgeous, beautiful Pennsylvania countryside. They got these big, ugly suckers hanging down. They're rusting and rotting. Half of them weren't spinning, and the ones that were going so slow. They were going, it's not too windy, but, you know, they're going like slow. The wind, it sounds so wonderful. The wind is...
So true. It's about time somebody had the balls to say it. And then we have the MyPillow man, Mike Lindell, who spent all of his money chasing election windmills. He's still yelling about 2020, but ironically, the numeric conspiracy crazies are now coming for him.
A week and a half ago, they go after a price point of 88 or 1488. It was the #1 story in the world, all the way to the Daily Mail in the UK, trending. Mike Lindell is a Hail Hitler. 8 is the 8th letter in the alphabet, and it says 88. And I'm going, are you kidding me? This was right before we were doing a commercial with 1988, 1888, and 1488. I said, and people were coming, are you going to apologize? And media is coming, are you going to apologize and change your ads? I'm going, absolutely not. This doesn't mean that just because someone means it. I'm not into numbers, stuff like that, you know.
My, how the tables have turned. I do know, Mike. I know numbers aren't your thing unless we're talking thread count or stolen votes. But another conspiracy enthusiast, Marjorie Taylor Greene, has been blaming the storms in the South on her opponents. They, she calls them. She believes they have power to control the weather, which is interesting because in the past she's claimed that God uses the weather to punish bad people. And when floods hit Burning Man last year, she gave God credit for that. And in April, she tweeted, God is sending America strong signs to tell us to repent, earthquakes and eclipses and many more things to come. But Milton's in Florida now, which is home to her orange baby Jesus. So now she says they are controlling the weather, which is nuts, but still somehow she has an insurmountable lead in her home district in Georgia, partly thanks to strong support from allies like the aforementioned Pillow Man, Mike Lindell.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Hear ye! America's become an obscene carnival of woke Bud Light cross-dressers and soft-lived turd snow bunnies who want to cancel great patriots like President Tito Jefferson, but legalize libraries? Holy smokes, I think your dog is sick. That's why we need to bring back real square-jawed, masculine fellas who ain't afraid to hit a truck tire with a sledgehammer using their big, veiny arms, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. This guy's real tough. Looks like he's made out of thumbs. And he ain't afraid of hollering at a colleague.
You don't have enough intelligence.
The president. Or even a school child.
You're attacking our Second Amendment, and you have nothing to say.
He's brave enough to shoot down common sense gun legislation and smart enough to shoot hogs from a chopper. Speaking of hogs, I bet old Mark has a big one. Mean Taylor Greene was the only one who had enough balls to say COVID-19 safety measures were exactly like the persecution of Jews during the Holocaust. Right, Piglet? And as a strong man, Mark Jerry really admires Russian President Vanderpump Putin. Here, have a cigarette. Heat up. Yeah, oh, what do you know? You keep you high all day. Mark Jerry wants to imprison scientists for war crimes because science is devilry. Science is what machines is made of, and machines is what stole this election from President Donald Junebug Trump. You son of a... So cast your vote for Jeremy Band-Aid Cream for Georgia's 14th district and keep the guns in our schools and pedos out of our Pizza Huts.
For the bleach-born, bad-built, butch-bodied moms for Jesus.
But calm down, lady. The horse ain't got no pants either. Nobody's cursing at him. Oh!